In today's episode, I'm going to share with you the top 5 most valuable trading tools that I would use if I were a beginner trader starting over tomorrow. My name is Ross Cameron. I am a full-time trader, and I funded my first account in 2001. So some of the tools that I'm using today, they cost quite a bit of money. And although I find them valuable, it's not what I would use as a beginner trader. So let's lay out what is the minimal viable setup for an aspiring trader. And we're going to begin with your trading station. Now, I know some of you guys are watching this episode on your phone. You're thinking, well, I could trade on my phone. And while you certainly can, the market's never been more accessible than it is today, you can access your brokers from your phone. I wouldn't recommend trying to day trade from your phone. There's just not enough screen real estate and you can't move as quickly. And also, when you're trading on your phone, well, sadly, you won't be able to really see the detailed nuance of the level 2 flow because really they don't have it set up to visualize on your phone the way you can visualize it on the computer. So at this point, if you're thinking about being a day trader, you've got to upgrade to a computer. That doesn't mean you need a setup as big as this. This is not what I had when I got started. When I got started, I had a used Lenovo laptop, and that for me was the beginning of my career. So a used Lenovo laptop, I would say, is your minimal viable product in terms of computer. This right here is a simple laptop. It's built by Falcon. F15 is the model number. And this is a laptop, I have a couple of these that I've used whenever I travel, and they are fantastic. They cost about $1,500. They're not as cheap as a used Lenovo, but kind of, gaming level computer that has enough ports to connect your monitors. This is a solid computer. But Lenovo is okay too, and you can certainly find a lot of used computers. If you get into an Apple, as you know, Apples can be very expensive. And one of the problems that you'll find is that some trading software is custom to Windows only. And so if you've got an Apple, you won't be able to use certain brokers. So we'll talk about brokers a little bit later in this episode so you'll better understand whether or not you'd be considering one that would be for Windows only, but it's just something to keep in mind. So your first tool is your trading system, your trading station, and your computer. I would go simple and just use an old laptop. Now, if you have the money to buy a desktop, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But obviously, a desktop computer can't travel with you. And one of the things that's incredible about being a trader is that you can do this from anywhere in the world. As you've seen from my recaps and my episodes I upload here, I do exactly that. I trade and travel all the time. So why not harness the ability to do that by getting yourself a nice laptop? Okay, so you've got the laptop. That's important. And you've got one laptop screen, but you need a little bit more real estate for putting out charts, scanners, and your broker. So what do I use? What I'm using right here are 27-inch monitors, and they're 4K. Now, they're a little bit more expensive than your standard 1080 monitor. For a long time, I just used 24-inch 1080 monitors, and you can pick them up on Amazon for about $125 a piece. They're cheap. You can get 3 or 4 of them, and boom, you're good to go. If you want to upgrade to a 4K monitor, it's going to cost you a little bit more money. Is it necessary as a beginner? No. But again, it's one of those things that if you've got the extra money and it's not a big deal, you'll have more screen real estate, bigger screen, which means you can see in more detail the charts. And that is important. So when I'm traveling, one of the monitors that I like to use are these little monitors here. They're built super thin. You can fit a couple of them. They're as big as a notepad in your carry-on suitcase. And that's exactly what I do. So I'll have two of these monitors and then the laptop in my backpack. And just like that, I have a portable cash machine. That's essentially what it is. It's an ATM, and it comes with me everywhere I go, whether I'm in a hotel or I'm in the airport or whatever it is. I can open this up, I can start trading, and I'm good to go. But what I'll say about these monitors, they can come in smaller sizes. This one's 15-inch. They do make them in 17-inch as well. Is that I find after using them for a few weeks when I'm traveling, that when I come back to the 24, 27-inch monitors, I'm like, wow, this is nice. So what do I notice when I come back? Well, essentially the big thing I notice is that when I'm actually looking at this window right here, it goes from being probably about this big, maybe something like that, like this big to this big. So all of a sudden, every one of the charts, I can see, I could see more of it. So now I can look back a little bit further, and that's helpful when you're pulling up a chart and you're looking at its daily levels. If you're too zoomed in, you can't see resistance, right? So this is a stock here, for instance, that had some resistance up around $3 this morning. And if you were too zoomed in, you wouldn't have seen that. So now certainly you can be in a small window and zoom out, but then the candles become difficult to read. So I find the 24, 27-inch monitors at home to be great. And when I'm traveling, look, I can get by on the 15-inch or 17-inch monitor, but you will notice a difference. When you've got more space, you're going to tend to use it. And so here's the one thing that I'll say. There is not a direct correlation with the number of monitors you have and the amount of money you'll make. I have seen people that have set up rooms with dozens of monitors. How many can you watch at the same time? You can only watch so many charts at once. So even for me, the way I set it up is on these monitors back here, I have 2 different stocks I'm watching. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, which means I've got a watch list of 4 stocks, and then I have the main stock that I'm trading on my main monitor. So a total of 5 stocks I can look at one time. Now, could I set these up so I'm watching, 16 charts on each monitor? I could, but there's no way that I would actually be able to pay attention to them. I would get decision fatigue. I would just be overwhelmed. I would start ignoring them completely, and then they serve no value whatsoever. And in fact, they probably just jack up your electric bill, so they're actually costing you money. And maybe they're causing you to lose money because you're jumping around a little bit. So one of the things I will say is sometimes when I'm traveling, I've got my laptop and then I've got 2 monitors external, so that's a total of 3. So 1, 2, and then 3. I sometimes find that I trade better because I'm more focused. I'm more focused on a watch list of only 3 stocks in total instead of 5. So there's something to be said for using 3 monitors, and I would say as a beginner, that's your sweet spot. Set up 3 monitors. If it's 3 24-inch monitors, that's fine. If it's your laptop screen and 2 24-inch monitors or 2 17-inch portable monitors, that's fine. But 3 feels to me like the sweet spot. Okay, so now we've talked about the computer and we've talked about the monitors. This is part of your equipment. It's the hardware that you need to do the job. Now let's talk about the software. So what do we actually have on these monitors? Let's start front and center with the main monitor. So my main monitor is where I have my scanners and these charts. But we're going to talk about the scanners first. For me, my scanners are my secret weapon. They are the most valuable tool that I have by far. So what are the scanners doing for me? Well, what you see here on the left side of the monitor are all of these scans. And what these scans are doing is they're searching the market in real time for stocks that meet the criteria for my trading strategy. Now, if you trade a similar strategy or perhaps the same strategy as me, where you're day trading momentum stocks that are moving quickly, then these scanners are perfect for you. Now, if you trade a different strategy, then you would need to customize either these scans or different scans to look for the type of stocks that you want to trade. But think about 25, 30 years ago, before people had these types of scanners. How did you find stocks that were moving on any given day? It was very difficult for a retail trader. Now, of course, if you worked on the floor on Wall Street, you would know what was moving just by being there on the floor and seeing where people were buying and selling. But if you were a retail trader, it was very difficult. So finding momentum used to be hard. And now, with the advent of this type of software and these types of scanners, it's much easier. So right now, just for instance, this stock is hitting the scans, LICN. So we could pull up LICN, we click on it, and then once I've identified the stock on the scanner, and I can read all these data points about it, I can pull up the chart, and then I can begin doing some technical analysis. I can ask myself, is this a chart that I like? Now, clearly we can see that this is a stock that is sold off for a very long time. So we could draw some conclusions about why the stock is sold off so much. Clearly, if it were a better company, it wouldn't have sold off this much. So we could probably draw some conclusions. We could look and notice that, oh, the country code is CN. So this is a Chinese company. We know that a lot of Chinese companies listed on the US market end up selling off like this over long periods of time. They just go lower and lower and lower. So, and given the fact that this has no news today, this little pop is probably short-lived, probably not going to amount to really much of anything, and we can disregard it. So then we go on to the next one. But for me, without these scanners, I wouldn't have sort of a compass. I wouldn't have a waypoint of where is momentum today? What stock is moving? So at any given time, I can see right now, this stock, for instance, is our leading percentage gainer in the entire market. It's up with over 100 million shares of volume. It's up 173%. And so one of the things that you should also know is that as an active trader, when you use a broker that is a commission-free broker, the way they make money is on your order flow. So every time you trade, every share you trade, they get a little sliver of profit. Now, essentially, in the old days, they would charge you a commission and they made money on the commission. And then they got rid of commissions and they created this relationship with wholesalers who send your order out to the market, and they give the broker a little sliver of profit that they make as they execute your order. So now every time you trade, the broker makes money. So what is the broker incentivized to encourage you to do? They want you to trade so they can make money. So how do they do that? They tell you, hey, there's a stock today up 175% on 100 million shares of volume. You should check it out. And so now all of these big brokers send out these daily emails, essentially sort of fanning the fire, telling you what's moving, giving you some FOMO. Tesla's moving today. Facebook is moving today. Netflix is moving today. Small caps, large caps, overall market. They just kind of keep trying to encourage you to trade, because the more you trade, the more money you'll make, the more money they'll make. Now, this is where it's important. You can't get caught in over trading. You've got to make sure you don't fall victim to jumping in everything that's moving, but you focus on trading stocks that actually fit within your strategy. All right, now we could talk about strategy for a long time, but right now, let's stay focused with tools. So we've talked about the computer, we've talked about the monitor, we've talked about scanners. The next thing you need are your charts. Now I have the charts on the same window that I have my scanners, as you can see right here. I'm using candlestick charts in my trading. In the older days, when I was first getting started trading, all of this software was separate. You had a separate platform for scanning, a separate platform for your news feed, a separate platform for charting. There was no single company that really had it all nailed down. Today, that's begun to change, where you can find platforms that have everything in one and they actually perform really well. I would say maybe even just 5 years ago, the platforms that were all in one, they tried to do everything, but they didn't do everything well. So basically, you could either do one thing really well, or you could try to do everything mediocre. And for a beginner trader using mediocre software, it's probably not the difference between success and failure. But with something as difficult as trading, you might as well make it easier on yourself by using really good software. I would say the most important software is your scanning, because that allows you to find stocks in real time. By the way, this is the software that I use right here, and I'll have links in the description that you can check out. When it comes to charting, I need candlestick charts, but I also need charts that function well. And there's certain things that are important to me. For instance, when I roll my mouse, when I roll my scroll pad, I want to be able to zoom in and out like this and adjust the scale. Now, some platforms, they don't zoom from a central point here. They'll zoom directly from where your mouse is, so everything kind of zooms to the left and to the right. It sort of zooms center. So little things like that and zooming on your axis here are really important for being able to kind of adjust the charts visually so you can see the candlestick patterns, so you can see what you're looking at. The ability to add your indicators, to overlay them so they're not so intrusive that they kind of block you from seeing the candles, but they're still there, is very important. The ability to add some more technical custom indicators like certainly MACD, and to be able to modify it to your liking is important. Being able to see the volume bars. There are some platforms where the volume is overlaid onto the charts like this by default, and you can't separate them. And the problem there is if you have a stock that's dropping, you can end up in a situation where you really can't read the volume because the candlesticks and the volume end up sort of overlapping on each other. So just the sort of subtle differences in the way these platforms are set up make it so some are really easy to use and some are really difficult. So charting is important. Candlestick charts and making sure you can add your indicators so you can see what's happening. Now, for me, I have a set of indicators that I use on all of my time frames. I use moving averages, exponential, the 9, the 20, and the 200. I use the volume weighted average price. I use the MACD, which is moving average convergence divergence indicator. And of course, I use the volume bars. And then you can see I've got my standard candlestick charts. So candlestick charts. Now, some people would use different types of charts that aren't candlestick, but I'm not even going to get into that because it doesn't make sense for 90% of traders. It's also important that the charting provider that you use offers sub 1 minute time frames if you're day trading. So this right here is a 10-second time frame, which means every one of these candles will close every 10 seconds. So this is a very fast chart. The candles close quickly. But what's valuable about that is buy and sell signals will also form faster. And that means when you've got something that's moving quickly like this, you don't have to wait as long to get your buy indicator. You can get in as quick as possible. If you're relying just on 1 minute charts, you're gonna be a little slower. If you're relying just on 5 minute charts, you're gonna miss a lot of the action. So having a charting provider that gives you the ability to go to 10-second charts is important. You got your 10-second, your 1 minute, your 5 minute, and your daily. And then this for me is what I use for every stock I'm watching. So then if over on my side chart, just for instance, or my side monitor, the way I have it set up is I'll have, like the S&P 500 will be maybe on 1 right here. So this is the 10-second, 1 minute, 5 minute, and daily for the S&P 500. And then over on this side, I could put whatever stock I want, Meta. I could put whatever stock I want that's on my side chart. So I have a couple stocks like that I watch, and then I just tuck this over on the side and I can glance over at any time. Because I have all 4 time frames on that side chart, I don't actually have to have to put the chart right here to trade off of it. I can trade off of that side monitor, and that works just fine for me. So now we've talked about the computer, we've talked about the monitor, we've talked about the scanners, we've talked about the charts. What's the next thing we've got to talk about? The broker. Okay, so when it comes to brokers, I think it's important to be relatively agnostic, that you could switch brokers at any time. It's not going to mess you up. You just basically shop around to whoever is cheapest at that moment. Now, right now, without a doubt, you've got commission-free trading. So commission-free trading is going to make it so brokers like Charles Schwab, Webull, Robinhood, perhaps TradeStation or Interactive Brokers are going to be popular. I have a separate episode where I rank the top best brokers based on execution speed and based on the critical tools that the broker needs to have in their software in order for you to trade quickly. That includes level 2, it includes hotkeys, it includes halt resumption prices, and displaying when you have an imbalance. So there's a separate episode I'll link at the end of this class here today, so you can watch that deep dive into which broker is best, but you need to have a good broker. If you're using the wrong broker, that can be the difference between success and failure. So the broker that I'm using right here, you can see this is my trading window, and I'm just going to pull up. This. Let's see. It doesn't really matter. Let's think like Macy's or something. I'm just going to pull up a stock just real quick, just to kind of show you how quickly you can trade. So here's Macy's, currently $1.98 by $1.99, 2.8 million shares of volume. So I can press my hotkey, Shift 1, Shift 2, Shift 3, to buy shares. And so I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to press it once, and just in an instant, I get filled. Now, sometimes when you're buying a stock that's dropping, you can actually get filled at the bid price, and you can see this has a little bit more selling than buying. So I'm going to press it again, and instantly I've got 500 shares. 2 more times, I got 1,000. 2 more times, 3 more times, 2,000. And then I want to get out, boom, just like that. So I lost 11 bucks. No big deal. I don't mind losing 11 bucks just to demonstrate for you the benefit of using software that empowers you to trade quickly. Now, if we were trading a stock that was squeezing up 50, 60, 75, 100% on the day, that right there could have been my ability to jump in with 20,000 shares and in a matter of seconds be up 40, 50, 60,000 dollars. I'm up 25,000 today, but as many of you guys have seen, when I'm having big green days, these are 6-figure days, and this is the software that I need to allow me to trade that quickly. So with this software, I don't have any charts attached to it, and I don't have any scanners. All I have are my level 2 windows, my hotkeys that I've scripted, my order entry windows, and then my positions in the execute order window. It's very simple. So I keep that down on my main screen, which is generally my laptop screen, and then the screen just above that has my charts, my scans, my news, and then the third monitor is going to have the side charts that we're watching. Now, if you have a little bit more screen real estate, you could have a fourth monitor, which is basically a duplicate of this with 2 more stocks on watch. And again, you could have 10 stocks. You could keep expanding that, but you're going to get to a point where it's overkill and you're actually going to see diminishing returns. I hope you guys have found this episode super helpful. If you have, I hope you hit that thumbs up. If you want to check out that episode where I rank the top best performing brokers for active day trading. I'll put a link to it right here so you can check that out. If you want to watch a full-length episode that describes my day trading strategy in depth, I'll put a link to that here as well. Thank you as always for tuning in. And a reminder, trading is risky, easy come, easy go. So please take it slow and practice in a simulator before putting real money on the line. I'll see you for the next upload real soon.